So what was that SpongeBob episode where someone was like, another day, another nickel? In my case here, another hot and cold. It doesn't really matter because I'm not getting paid. Hey there, welcome back to True North Reviews. My name is Ryan, and today we are doing an episode of Hot and Cold. This is a video series I like to do where I talk about the best and worst music that was released over the past week, in my opinion. We have the hot being the best tracks, the cold being the worst tracks, and we have some middle of the road as well. For this week's episode, we'll be talking about any singles that were released in between April 12th and 18th, 2020. As per usual, the songs will be linked down below in the description if you want to check out any of the songs. If you are interested, do so. And if you have any future suggestions, that word slipped my mind. Yes, if you have suggestions in the future, let me know. Alright, so kicking it off with the hot tracks this week, as we always do. Leader of the Delinquents is the name of the new Kid Cudi song I want to first talk about. I love this track. It's very dark. It's ominous. We have this brooding energy to it, and there's a lot of edginess. The Kid Cudi hums are utilized with that same dark edginess. Yeah, I'm just getting a lot of edginess coming from this track. If that's the key word I can use to describe it, that's what I would use. I love the reverb that's on the hook. The hook isn't really that drawn out or that kind of like fulfilling, but like if you put some reverb on it, gives it a nice touch. And I have to say, Kid Cudi, he sounds pretty inspired, which is always good, especially when I liked what he contributed to Kids See Ghosts. Next up, we have the latest single from Joji. This one is called Gimme Love. I liked the last single that we got from Joji. I think it was called Run. There might have been something else in between there. I haven't really been keeping up with him too closely, but this new track from him, Gimme Love, is also a great track. This week we're getting this song along with an album announcement, which this album is going to be coming out on July 10th. More about the new tune, though. It's kind of reminding me of Rex Orange County with the expanded atmosphere, the soft strumming of the guitar. It's a really pretty track. It's downright gorgeous. So yeah, we also have a admirable hook to complement this tune as well. And yeah, moving on from there, July Talk, they're back this week with another single, their second for their upcoming album that will be coming out. This latest single from them is entitled Governess Shadow. As I was desperately craving from the previous song from July Talk, we have Peter Drymanis making his first appearance as a co-lead vocalist. Governess Shadow, we have a peppy drum beat for this one, some jangly rhythm guitar, and a sweet repeated vocal refrain from Leah Faye. Parts of the song, I will admit, are pretty eerie, pretty spooky and out there, just to balance off that radio-friendly sound that this song has going for it. And yeah, Governess Shadow, I do like this track quite a bit more than the previous single that was put out. I think this demonstrates what July Talk are all about and what they can do. Another hot track this past week, I'm giving it to Jamie XX. If you know him, he's the producer. He provides beats for the indie pop group The XX. His latest song is called I Don't Know, and this time it's electronic, heavily electronic. It's nothing like what he would do for The XX, I don't really think. It's quite hypnotic, with all the right spacing, the kind of like gimmicks and like the production kind of panning that he does from the left and right channels. Sounds pretty cool. This song isn't really up my alley. I know it sounds great from like a sonic standpoint, like musically it's great as well. I just don't really see myself personally returning to this as much as some of the other hot tracks, but it is still good. Switching gears from electronic to country, I managed to find a country song I liked this past week. It's by Morgan Wallen. The song is entitled More Than My Hometown. Lyrical cliches are kept to a minimum, and that's always a step in the right direction if you can do that for country music, because I'm not usually the biggest fan. I've said that many times before. We also have a strong vocal performance from Morgan on this track and a decent hook. So country this week is getting a W. Keeping things rolling, though, we have Conan Gray with his album that he put out. I picked a song from their Wish You Were Sober I'm not entirely sure if this is a single or not, but Conan, he sounds very charismatic on this one, and it's just a fun indie song to sing along with. Norah Jones has seen fit to release a single. It's called How I Weep. Minimal instrumentation, spotlight the vocals on this one, which are pretty soothing, calming. We have some soft strings, some light touches of piano. This is just like good dinner music, you know, like if you're having a classy get-together with friends, you know, after we're actually allowed to have classy get-togethers or just social gatherings in general. So yeah, just keep this song in mind for when we can start doing that stuff again, I guess. A couple more hot tracks to go through. First up, Classified. He is a Canadian rapper, pretty underrated, doesn't really get much attention down in the States for what I can see. I mean, I can't see everything, but his new single is called Good News. It's a feel-good tune. Nothing really braggadocious or too corny either if you're going on the far opposite of the spectrum. If you're not going to be braggadocious, you don't want to be corny either with like the uplifting messages. So yeah, Classified, he kind of nails it with his new track here. Good News. And lastly, this week, a new Florence and the Machine song is out. It's called Light of Love. We get more stories from Florence's drug-addled past, which is just, it's kind of heartbreaking when you realize, like, oh, wow, she actually went through that, but, like, she's overcome it. So, like, that's the positive, that's the takeaway. Overall, Light of Love is just a beautiful Baroque pop track all around. And yeah, moving on to the middle of the road tracks this week. These were okay songs, not really blowing me away, but you might enjoy them. First up, we have A Day to Remember, their latest single, Mind Reader. Something about this track seems a tad overproduced, but there is a fun guitar riff to make up for that. We are getting a bit more of that poppy side of A Day to Remember. The bridge certainly proves that. There's no breakdown or anything that would be used in metal, at least. So I don't know, it's an okay song, and I don't know, like they need to put out some kind of news for this new album that's coming out. It should have dropped by now, I think, but we'll just have to wait and see with A Day to Remember. Next up, we have Jason Mraz. He's making a return with a new single, a new album announcement. Something's on the way, June 19th. He's released the title track here, Look for the Good. Typical stuff from Jason Mraz. He's got the blue-eyed soul thing going for him. This tune, I guess it's Bob Marley-esque for sure with the groove. Lyrically, it's as optimistic as Jason Mraz has ever sounded, especially of late. So yeah, if you enjoy him, you'll enjoy him here. For me, I don't know, it just seems like a kind of middle-of-the-road song for him. Hence why it is on the middle-of-the-road tracks this week. Next up, we have Seat Headrest, their latest single, Hollywood. This is the third one in support of their upcoming album, which I will hopefully be reviewing. Will Toledo, he's kind of singing in his lower register. That's okay. It's a bit lower than what he normally does. And then we have Andrew Katz. He is a member of the band as well. He's shouting on this track, which seems to be like a pretty punk, almost hip-hop inspired track on here of Hollywood. There are lots of bursts of energy on this track, lots of head-bobbing moments. The lyrics are insightful and also cringy, though. So that's what's landing it here on the middle of the road, especially with that line about like Hollywood wanting to make you puke. It just sounds so like out there and just like randomly placed. I don't know. For the most part, this track is pretty skeletal and all over the place stylistically, and if you look at any of the other teaser tracks that we've gotten so far from Seat Headrest, it's looking awfully all over the place, this new album. I don't know what to make of it so far and what to expect. So yeah, it's only a couple weeks away. We'll see. A couple electronic tracks to keep on your radar this week. They are both from Ryan Hemsworth. He is a Canadian electronic artist. One is called New Life. The other track is called Sun Up. I've loved some of his songs in the past, but both of these tracks from him this week are pretty chill, pretty easy to listen to, possibly good for a YouTube video when you have like a time lapse or something like that. It's a bit of a weird reason for a recommendation, but whatever. What Would Baby Do by bbno Money and Lentra is next up here. Pretty apathetic vocal performance from bbno Money. Lots of vain lyrics as well, but I do like the jazzy and slick instrumental on this one. It's okay. And to wrap up the middle of the road this past week, we have Please Don't Live in Fear by Bon Iver. Of course, that's actually as like an acronym for the song title. It's another quarantine song with proceeds going towards frontline health workers. Great cause. Remember to keep thanking your frontline health workers. About the Bon Iver song, though, I love the first verse, and I also appreciate the vocal manipulations on this one. It almost sounds like a synthesizer. The chorus and the subsequent verses, though, they kind of lose my interest. They don't sound as strong as with their production as compared to the first verse. They kind of just sound like they're meandering and just with less interesting results. You know what I mean? Like, I'm meandering right now. Onto the cold tracks. There were songs I heard over the past week. First up, we have Kaleo with their latest, Backbone. I don't know. Something about this song, with the exception of the outro, it's pretty explosive, by the way. It sounds really good. Kaleo, though, oh my gosh, they are quickly cornering themselves in like this very predictable, stale category of rock songs. I don't know, just something about the last couple singles from them haven't really been up to my standard or expectation of them. So yeah, I'm not really excited for this new record as much because like the lead singles were great. The last couple haven't been that good in my opinion. So hopefully they do bounce back. I want them to bounce back. Next up we have Playboi Carti with At Meh. It's a weird title for a song, I think. It's got a neat beat going for it, but nothing much else. The vocal performance gets pretty stale really quick. Mother Nature has decided to start raining, adding to the dreary tone of the cold tracks here, as if these weren't bad enough songs. We have the backdrop to support that now. So Bigger Love by John Legend is next up here. It sucks, just trust me on that one, and that rain is really loud. Lastly, for this week, we have a new single from Kalani. Everybody Business is the name of that one. I've heard this song from Kalani before. Like, I've heard her do it better somewhere else. It just feels like I'm getting like hits of deja vu or something. Yeah, something about the R&B tracks this week. They were really plain and dry. But yeah, that's all I have for Hot and Cold. Make sure you sound off down below in the comments. Let me know what you think of these songs. Agree or disagree, I'm here to engage with you guys. If you want to leave a like, subscribe if you're new in town. I'd appreciate it very much. As always, thanks for watching, and have a rockin' day.